2020 has been an interesting year of discovery for me and my channel, and 2021 has been no different. With me creating around the same amount of videos for both years, I felt significantly more excited for what I've created this time. I've had more ideas that I didn't capitalize on, more collabs that I didn't capitalize on, and I'd say more quality that I'm personally happy with. And although I've kind of stalled near the beginning of the year, I'd say I'm moving pretty steadily towards something that I'm very comfortable with in terms of having a backlog. Hello, this isn't a recap episode despite the intro. I'm simply fitting that part in before I forget. I think. I actually write in a weird way where sometimes I skip ahead of myself just so that I finish writing another thing and okay, I'm kind of rambling in typing format. Well, I'm reading this right now, aren't I? You know, I'm really curious to how this comes out when I'm saying it out loud. I hate you. Past me. I think it's safe to say that the state of the world has been slightly better than it was last year. So of course I've been spending more time watching anime and significantly less time touching grass. So instead, I've caught up on old shows, one of which being Anohana, that flower we saw that day. I'm gonna be honest, I've cried. Like, actual grown man with tears running down his cheeks cried. Part of it might have been because of my mental state at the time, but a good portion of it was how wholesome the show comes across, even lightly brushing against a dark topic of old scars that never go away. Anohana is only 11 episodes, but nearly 6 episodes in, the main cast of the 5 characters seem less like a bunch of people that I barely know, and more like friends that I never knew I had attempting to cope with the pain of one of their friends suddenly passing away one day when they were kids, each of which having to struggle with the trauma in their own ways. Hating themselves for what they become, and learning to come to terms with who they are now, letting the past go. It's a truly beautiful story. I have no doubt in my mind that you'll find one of the flaws in the main cast out to yourself, if not all of them. It's an absolute evergreen anime. Another show that made me feel less masculine is Violet Evergarden. I've always seen this anime around and avoided it because, look at this beautiful animation. How the hell could something that looks this good actually be good? A misconception that simply destroyed me the deeper I watched from it. One quote that's been on the tip of my mind ever since watching is, "You don't realize it yet, but your body is on fire and burning up because of the things you did." A humble reminder that your past always catches up to you in one way or another. Something that's always been a constant theme of mine on the channel. I've actually tried to script a video on it once or twice, but both times I've felt I've never been able to put the series into justice. After all, it's a beautiful tale that emphasizes on expression, emotional growth and development, starting with the character that goes from thinking like a machine to someone who experiences and emphasizes helping others to process their many grievances. If you're expecting a fast-paced narrative with twists and turns, you'll be disappointed. But if you just sit back and enjoy the emotional ride, your face will be swelling with tears before you know it. Speaking of Kyoto Animations, I've watched all of Haruhi and enjoyed it very much. At first I just figured it'd be a pretty much cutesy show in the vein of Lucky Star, but the show playing around with the concept of what if God was one of us was a real delight. Especially considering the amount of detail the story goes through, and well thought out plot points that really end up paying off or foreshadow something way in advance. Somehow the story never gets old, which is incredible considering that I've got the attention span of a fly. So if you want something lighthearted with a lot of fun packed into it with occasional amazing action scenes, check it out. Especially if you like Dragon Maid, considering this is the same studio that animated it. Somehow Kyoto Animation really knows how to adapt a series that'll either make you cry or cry with a smile on your face. So now to continue with Kyoto, one of my favorite series just so happened to get a second season this year. Dragon Maid is simply something that I believe is top-notch in terms of anime. And while I was mildly worried about the complaints that people were having about a certain big-breasted lolly, the show more than performed and hit me right in the feel-goods. It seems to have taken a step back from my favorite relationship in all of media, and simply let all the other interactions take center stage, with their journeys and funny clashes. I can only hope that there's a season 3. Then they might even settle once and for all why these two on screen are the most happiest that I ever get. Kyoto Animation really put their foot into the budget and kept up with the out-of-nowhere but amazing visuals for no good reason. Something that isn't necessary to make me love the show, but Gafad doesn't make me really think it's amazing. Speaking of good animation, I'm gonna cheat and say that Jujutsu Kaisen is a 2021 anime, and say that it's absolutely beautiful. It's one of those shows that hit me just right as a shonen with a cast of powerful characters along with some awesome fight sequences that I'll never get enough of. The only thing that I truly wish for is that I saw this back when I was first getting into anime so that I can revel into the greatness of it just a little bit longer. Well, I'm not saying that this isn't a great show. I will say that as someone who has seen the lowdown and has watched and dipped his feet into the most popular shows, there's a bit of I know where this plot point is going behind every new introduction. Something that makes me fear that it'll stray closer to how I feel about My Hero Academia at one point. Awesome concept with characters and animation that are great, but a slow feeling that eventually it'll be back to the next big bad of the arc that'll shake things up, then deflate when things go back down and there's no real shake-up to add with things. But let's be real here, Jujutsu Kaisen is just too good at keeping a narrative pace to fall into a pit trap like that. Wonder Egg Priority is a delightful change to the types of shows that I've been watching lately, blending a beautiful palette of animation with action-packed narrative, sending me on a fun and engaging journey from start to, somewhere in the middle. I always felt like I was missing something from a genre of a Madoka Magica type show, and this very neatly fits into that void. The only thing I really wish for in this is that they stuck to their guns in the show and didn't try to make the final reveal that much of a mess. In it, they've undermined the entirety of the show, one of the most important aspects of the motivations of one of the characters. But don't let that fool you, it's still an amazing show that you should definitely check out. Now, I'd be remiss if I skip over the best thing that happened in 2021, and that would be Arcane. Something that I was a bit skeptical of at first, especially considering that everyone and their grandmother was saying that it was the best thing ever. But it's truly something that had me gritting my teeth at every twist and turn. There's only 9 episodes, but every 40-minute chunk made it feel like it was a movie of its own. Jam-packed with some of the most beautiful choreography, voice acting, animation, and writing that I've seen in a while. I've probably played League of Legends a grand total of 5 times in my life, each time realizing that I have no idea what I'm doing. And I found myself caring about this world and its characters. I've actually had to figure out which characters was in the game by the end of it, because by guessing, I was only able to discern 2 at most, despite there being damn near 10. It's a great series and definitely worth anyone's time if they have any interest in animation at all. Out of the 4 years that I've had YouTube Premium, I spent 200 hours listening to videos in the background. Whether at work, or commuting to and from work, or thinking about work, or coming home from work, YouTube is a constant source of entertainment for me. So I'd be remiss to leave out such a big spew of information. And this year I've been finding quite a few creators that tickle my fancy. If you're anything like me and enjoy putting videos on in the background as you let your body take over for you, I've got the section for you. Foundry isn't something new, but they tend to make videos relating to mythos and even general writing advice. They're voiced in such a way that it's always fun to listen to or watch. From diving deep into bemusing creepy short stories to inspiring cautionary tales, they're always told from the perspective of a writer, with morals near the end that always leave me inspired. If you're a writer or simply enjoy myths in our society that have been long past, there's more than enough for you to enjoy from the channel of Foundry. Speaking of writers, recently a friend of mine decided to rewrite and give voice to his unpublished novels, as well as narrate a newer story. First of which being a tale of a girl who's realized her dangerous nature of having magical powers in a world where there is none, attracting the attention of unsavory people from another world. Eventually, she finds herself deciding to come to a new world in search of a higher destiny, leaving everything behind and finding herself in awe with this new fantasy world. The other being a grueling tale of 8 kids harboring the power of light weapons, making their way through old New York and attempting to fix whatever destroyed the city, coming across hordes of lifeless husks that were once people, and the monstrous abominations that the godforsaken land has conjured from, being a godforsaken land. At the moment he's making free content for me and I don't have to... At the moment he's making free content and you don't have to pay a dime, so if these concepts seem even slightly interesting enough for you to take a look, Whispers in a Theater will be in the description along with every other YouTuber or shareable media that I have down below. So, I've been playing D&D for about 2 years now, and I've monstrously consumed any content that I can find on the internet since then. While full-on campaigns weren't my cup of tea, simple videos explaining the lore or mechanics have been in my playlist for, I guess, 2 years. One user of which is Hidden Nerdy Side, a YouTuber that takes great care in helping dungeon masters craft encounters and the general excitement that can come from using things in the player's handbook itself. If you've ever been interested in what kind of games you could be getting into if you were to play D&D, or simply thought about becoming a dungeon master yourself, Hidden Nerdy Side is an absolute amazing source to use. I've even stolen one of his video ideas that I've plopped right into one of my campaigns that I've been running for over a year now. And if you're curious how that's going, there's a playlist of that also in the description. And now, I feel this is more serious and important for me to say, because AniTube has essentially been the majority of the content that I've enjoyed on YouTube. I've been inspired to write from such creators as iPatchWolf, Eek Studio, and even more so Bonsai Pop as well. Where there's another that I don't feel as though has much influence on me personally in terms of writing, though I do think their stuff kicks ass. I wanted to touch on what I thought about Totally Not Mark and his drama involving Toei Animation. My main fears with trying to cover anime on my channel is that eventually it'll get copyright struck and blocked, which would leave me with a video that I've worked hard on that I can't even show to anyone. But unfortunately, that's exactly what happened to Totally Not Mark's channel, with lawyers from Toei systematically taking down all of the videos that he has relating to their studio, like reviews of One Piece and Dragon Ball, and I must say, while I can't blame the company themselves, there's most certainly a corrupt finger in this somewhere, as this is no accident, and Mark was being made an example of. The archaic way of dealing with things from Toei, as well as YouTube's silence on the matter, is just gross. I can understand both sides, after all they are running a business, but treating a customer and a person who's driving sales or watch time from both sides with such disrespect is infuriating. And while I know there isn't much I can do to help to make things better, at least talking about it can get something off my chest. I feel for Mark and his crew. And if you're curious of what kind of creator he is, he's a phenomenal in-depth reviewer of series, arcs, and even characters for shows like Dragon Ball, Naruto, and One Piece. So if you love any of the following, then you'd be remiss if you didn't watch some of his videos on that topic, considering the passion he has for what he talks about is just inspiring. Vocaloid. Wait, no, hear me out. This isn't a recent obsession. I've always had some sort of enjoyment for the genre, style, whatever you collectively call it. Here and there, I've always had one or two songs on one of my playlists that I'd listen to every once in a while. But near the end of the year, it caught me off guard how much Vocaloid has infiltrated my listening routine. The fact that there's so many artists and styles of genre means that there's bound to be something out there that you can enjoy when you're looking for a song. Around me, there was often the more, for the lack of better terms, popularized Vocaloid songs. And that's what mostly pushed me away from deep diving into the genre as a whole. But considering all that Vocaloid is, basically a program that allows you to turn vocals into a fully fledged song, literally anyone and everyone can make music without needing the ability to sing. Stack this on top of the typical archetype of the performers, and there's quite the attachment to each singer and what could be done with them, story or otherwise, such as Black Train by Kai Yuki. While usually portrayed as a happy, colorful elementary schooler, Inabakumori. I don't think that's how you say it. Inabakumori. Let's see.
Inabakumori.
Ha! I was right. Suck my dick, Japan. Inabakumori takes her character in each of his videos, turning her into a sentient child that realizes that the world around her is mundane, clinging to liking the train ride home more than her everyday life. Or Love Me, Love Me, Love Me using Hatsune Miku. While the Every Girl, mainly used in a variety of situations, Kikuo's portrayal of her in this instance is of a girl who has gone her whole life, trying to be good in order to get praise and acceptance from her parents as well as others around her. So much so that it drives her to the point of obsession, starving her to do whatever possible to get whatever attention, love, and adoration she can. But I don't tell you this to get interested in reading the subtitles while going along with the songs. They're mostly bangers in their own right, and a beautiful listen. One that I've decided to go back to after hearing them about 5 or 6 times. I can understand that my tastes don't line up with others, but considering this is the music section, I'd like to at least showcase my favorite songs that I enjoy listening to from this, group of songs. Like Teo from Omoi. Inabakumori, Anticyclone. Giga, bring it on. Neru, Lost Ones Weeping. I could literally go off for hours, but those are simply the genres that I enjoy. Eventually I'll get around to making a video on the appeal of it. Probably. Maybe. I have no idea. Zutomayo is an artist with some really cool bangers of music, with some pretty awesome animations sliding around to it as well. Though they do speak Japanese, so that's probably a deal breaker for some, and if you're still sticking around waiting for me to show something that you would like, I am so sorry. But they do make some of the best emotional songs that I've had the pleasure of listening to. And coupling that with the videos, they are very much a good time. Darken is a very cute animation about an android doing her best to raise a child that she found in the wilderness. And while looking at it or simply listening, I've had a delightful experience due to the beautiful voice of the singer involved. Also, I may have been the one that actually got this video localized to America. You see, it was blocked in the US, so I used the VPN in order to watch it. I left a comment stating that I had to do so in order to see the video. And literally the day after, it was unblocked here. So, yeah, that was cool, I guess. EDM! Hey, what do you mean I ran out of time? This video is only like 17 minutes, probably. Thank you for watching. I've been wavering back and forth on the type of content I'd want to release for this year. Unless somehow I uploaded this in 2021, which, I mean, damn. My work ethic must have been up through the roof. Or I have some sort of motivation for it. But hey, you know what they say. If you did happen to make it to the end of the video, let me know what you think. Should I continue with this experiment and make videos that I find more interesting, or stick to a formula like what's the appeal or art is? Because on one hand, I don't think I'd run out of ideas for it anytime soon, but I would be more motivated to make the other kind of videos. Maybe this is just a case of me needing to stick with something in order to make it work. I have no idea. But thank you for making it this late into the video or even watching it at all. I kind of stopped making this midway through because I thought the concept was something dumb that no one would end up watching. But maybe I need to do more stuff like this. Sure, it's more hours of work that no one would care to see. But yeah, I honestly don't have anything that would counter that. But I hope you're at least having a great day though. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.